Tricia Beck. It's time.
Tricia Beck of Kingman, a junior at Fountain Central High School, 3-year member of French Club, was killed by a drunk driver on April 25, 2001. Survivors include her parents, Carla and Marvin Nose, Kevin and Lynn Beck, grandparents, Barbara and Bill Smith, Mary and John Beck, siblings, Jessica Nose, Faith Maddox, Misty Nose and Jason Nose. Funeral April 27th at Dickerson Funeral Home in Veedersburg. Donations, Old National Bank of Kingman. This is part of an every 15-minute program. When she comes back to the classroom, she won't be allowed to talk to anybody. There will be a staged accident around after lunch.
Why are you taking her?
No, we had
Settle down.
we had Jason Foster. But
Yeah, I was right.
Mrs. Jones didn't know why.
Well, actually, Brian, I need to chat with you for a second.
Okay, so as a group, we're all set. You want to transport him? Yeah. You need to have him back to the court by what time?
Mental spirits.
Oh, I trust you.
Yeah, you let us cut next to your head the other day. So.
I'll let you squeeze around with those things.
We had to go to the hospital. I couldn't give her sobriety. We couldn't do anything that I was planning on doing out there if she was injured.
What do you want her to have?
Just be shaken up. There's not really any injuries. Anything, no blood or anything. So we wouldn't be able to.
When you go to school, you want to be highlighted.
When I saw that, I thought I'm supposed to be arresting her out there. She's got to go to the hospital.
Man.
Put her in cuffs and take her to the morgue.
There you go. Yeah, that's another thing. I couldn't do that. Now, if she's hurt that bad, she goes to the medical people. I'll deal with her later. Sorry, lady.
Oh, I'm disappointed now. I don't know.
Yeah, well, look how quick you healed up.
I know it. That's amazing.
Now you got to wash your face.
Red hair.
And you know, the ironic thing of it is a drunk driving accident is usually the driver that doesn't get hurt at all. I mean, everyone else gets hurt, the driver just walks out of there like nothing happened, so.
Red hair.
So I stand beside you that way.
911, what is your emergency?
My name is Alan Wake. I've just seen a bad accident off of US Highway 136 at Fountain Central High School parking lot by the tennis courts. You better send an ambulance and some...
Okay, Mr. Wake, please stay on the line. Another dispatcher will be taking information. I'll notify fire, ambulance, rescue, and the police department. Attention Veedersburg Ambulance and 23R. Attention Veedersburg Ambulance and 23R. A serious 1050 PI with possible entrapment east of US 41 on 136 at Fountain Central High School's west parking lot by the tennis courts. We have a report of a serious 1050 PI with possible entrapment. KNDK 594. 2330 Attica. Attica, 2330. 2330, I have received a report of a 1050 PI with entrapment east of US 41 on 136 at Fountain Central High School west parking lot by the tennis courts. We have the report of a serious 1050 PI with possible entrapment. I do have the ambulance and 23R en route. We'll be toning Veedersburg and Hillsborough Fire. Clear, Attica, 2330, 1076. Attention Veedersburg and Hillsborough firefighters. Attention Veedersburg and Hillsborough firefighters. We have a report of a serious 1050 PI with possible entrapment east of US 41 on 136 at Fountain Central High School's west parking lot by the tennis courts. Hillsborough and Veedersburg firefighters. We have the report of a serious 1050 PI with possible entrapment east of US 41 on US 136 at Fountain Central's High School west parking lot by the tennis courts. WPLS 514. Med 10, 23R.
F600, F800 are en route.
F600, F800.
Attica, 2330, 1023. We do have a serious 1051 PI with entrapment. We have units respond, signal 10, signal 10.
Veedersburg and Hillsborough firefighters, Med 2, 23R, 2330 is 1023, advising it is a serious 1050 PI with entrapment, signal 10. Med 2, 23R. Med 2, 23R.
F600, F800 on the scene. F600 will be in command.
F600.
Attica, check flight status of Lifeline helicopter. If they are arrival, have them en route to this location.
F600. F600, Lifeline has been notified and will be en route. 2330 Attica. Attica, 2330. I do have Lifeline notified and en route. Clear Attica, advise and we'll set up a landing zone. 2330. Attica, 2330. 2330. Requesting you notify 230. Request you have it now. 2330. 2330 Attica. Attica, 2330. 230 has been notified and is en route. ETA time, driving time to Veedersburg.
paramedic. Want to give me a report.
Okay, this is a non-seatbelted passenger in a collision with a drunk driver. The car was T-boned. He has a massive head injury, internal bleeding, compound fracture of the right arm, has had no consciousness since arrival. He is 17. Unknown alcohol level.
Pants or shirt? Hello?
Yeah, it's just shirt.
You put shorts on?
Oh, is he responsive? Is he talking?
No, he's not.
Is there anyone else in the accident?
Yeah, I do believe so.
Are they coming in too?
No, I think they were dead.
Oh, man. I'm all accident. Okay. He's breathing. Is he got a sat on him?
Bias is low, he needed intubating. So we went for RT and X-ray. Let's get this kid intubated.
Okay. Yeah, give me a, how's the sat here?
Oh,
Looks like, okay, I'm looking at the tube. Now give me a tube, give me like, I got A.O.A, a curved blade, give me a stylet. Does he have any flex until you point it all, move it all? So I just check it, check it rectal.
You need a line.
Yeah, no tone at all. Okay, we're not gonna need any paralytics on him, he's got these flaccid. Yeah, get a line. What's the last pressure on you?
It's taking it right now.
Okay, all right, just give me the tube, get a tube in here.
RT's coming.
Okay. Okay. Fractures in the seat too. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. Bag them. Crunched down here at all. Okay. Call X-ray. We have to get a C-spine, chest, and pelvis stat, and then send him for a CAT scan. Okay, call the lifeline folks because he's not. It doesn't look like they're responding at all. They're just causing a little, we're doing now is causing a little pain, see if he's not even responsive to pain. So he probably has a bad head. Is he bleeding from down here real bad?
I don't look at
It looks like he's bleeding or something. All right, just get the X-ray stat, call lifeline. His outcome is not going to be very good. It's kind of brain.
Hey, Dr. Thomas, we're losing his pulse there.
Okay,
Start
give me
compressions.
500 cc fluid bolus, our compressions on him. Okay, all right, so same room. There's nothing, at this point, it's so bad, there's no X-ray going to change anything. He's either going to live, or we're going to get him down to Methodist, or he's not going to change it.
Okay.
So just call for ALS ambulance. How long has he been without a pulse?
Oh.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, with blind stat.
He's not had a pulse. He's had some electrical activity. I don't know if we ever had a pulse on him.
You know, with a traumatic arrest like this, it's almost never been a survivor. Most of it, I can call it.
Okay. Time of death, 13:25 hours.
I'll tell you, just call the ambulance folks to come, we don't need to come after all. But maybe he's drinking or anything, you know?
He's all just
So we're going to apply the college corner on this just to let them know. And he might not, we don't even do options, so probably should just call him. Who's that?
he's not a local kid.
I'll look it up. Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
As I said, he suffered a massive head injury in this accident. His breathing was hard to beat and everything when he got here, but sometimes when that happens, your body just, it's like it loses its regulation. And unfortunately, it's hard until you touch that.
Did you get started again?
No, we weren't able to get it started yet. Sometimes the heart stops beating from a heart attack. In this case, it's different. It started to stop beating when the heart is strong in his body.
You're already dead.
When I put on the end of this, all right, I'm gonna need you to blow as hard as you can until you hear a tone come on. When you're blowing hard enough, you'll know because there'll be a tone. And keep that going as long as you can, okay? Just keep blowing as long as you can. There you go. Now blow hard. Keep blowing. Keep going. Keep going. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay? Did you hear anything? Just relax. Okay, Lacey, you failed the test. You do a 0.1.
Cause number 23CL10104CF. Let the record show entitled State of Indiana versus Lacey Newland. Let the record show the state appears by Mark Brady. Defendant appears in person and with counsel Sara Dix. This being the time for hearing. Ms. Newland, you've been provided with a copy of the charges filed against you. And you understand the nature of those charges filed. And you're nodding your head, but we're tape recording this, so I need you to answer out loud. You're represented by counsel in these proceedings? Is that correct? And the state and the defense attorney has handed the court a 2-page document entitled Recommendation of Plea Agreement. Ms. Newland, is this your signature on this document?
Yes.
Did you read through it before you signed it? And in those paragraphs 7 and 8 that bear the initials LN, did you put those initials there? As I understand the plea agreement, you're agreeing to plead guilty to both count 1 and count 2, operating a vehicle while intoxicated causing death. And in exchange for that plea of guilty, the state would make no recommendation as to sentencing, but would agree that any executed portion of your sentence be capped out at 6 years. Is that your understanding of what you agreed to?
Yes.
You understand that I'm not a party to this plea agreement. I didn't see it until it was just handed to me moments ago, and I'm not bound by its terms unless I accept your plea of guilty. And if I accept your plea of guilty, then I'm bound by its terms, and so are you. Do you understand? Has anyone made any offers to you other than what's contained in this plea agreement to get you to plead guilty here today?
No.
Has anybody threatened, forced, or coerced you into entering into this plea? You understand you do not have to enter into this plea. You have a constitutional right to stand on your not guilty plea and have a speedy and public trial, and that includes a trial by jury. You have the right to face all witnesses appearing against you, to see, hear, and cross-examine those witnesses. You have the right to have witnesses appear on your own behalf. The court would assist you in that right by issuing subpoenas compelling witnesses to appear. The burden of proof is on the state, and the state must prove beyond a reasonable doubt you committed the offense you've been charged with before you can be convicted of that offense. And you have the right to remain silent. You cannot be forced to testify or make any statement against yourself. You understand these rights?
Yes.
You understand that by pleading guilty here today, you'll be giving up those rights. You understand if we were to have a trial and you were found guilty, you'd have certain appeal rights, and that by pleading guilty, you're giving up those appeal rights as well. You were charged in count 1 with operating or causing death when operating a vehicle while intoxicated is a Class C felony. Class C felony carries a presumptive sentence of 4 years, to which 4 years can be added or 2 years subtracted, or a range of 2 to 8 years. You understand? You were charged in count 1 for causing death when operating in uniform, and the statutes in such cases made and provided, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Indiana, and it's signed Toby Barker. Do you understand the charge? How do you wish to plead? So, Ms. Newland, what you're telling me is on April the 24th of 2001, you were operating a vehicle out on US Highway 136, is that correct? Ms. Dix, do you have any questions?
None to the factual basis, Your Honor.
Mr. McCarty, do you have any questions? All right. All right, Ms. Newland, I'll accept your pleas of guilty.
How are you relating that for? On April 24th of 2001, did you get information that something had happened to your son? Where were you at the time? How were you notified?
The state police came out.
What did they tell you?
They said there was an accident, and they reported it to the hospital office.
And is that where you went?
Yes.
What happened once you got to the hospital?
Lady from the emergency room took us into this side room and told us to wait.
Were you able to see your son initially?
Eventually, yes.
How was your son at the time you were allowed to see?
When I was in, he was dead. He was dead right there on the table.
What kind of plans did Jason have for his future?
Jason was going to be attending Purdue University in the fall, computer programming and gaming on.
What effect does his death have on you and your family?
It just tore us apart because Jason was our life. Jason has lived every day of his life with us, and now that he's gone, I know that's basically.
State your name, please.
Captain Seymour.
And what relationship is Lacey Newland to you?
She's my daughter.
What kind of a daughter has she been? You know what's facing Berger today? What could you tell the judge about Lacey to make the judge believe that Lacey deserves another chance?
Lacey also accepted to Purdue. She is going to major in communications to help.
Do you think she's remorseful for this?
Very much so.
I don't know, Judge.
No question.
Is there anything you can say to the judge before she considers what sentence to give you about yourself or about the situation?
I know that I did a horrible thing that I know I will never forgive myself for. But I would like to be able to educate other people so they won't make the mistake that I made.
I understand the defense counsel's request for probation, but that just stated content is not an appropriate sentence in a case like this. We agreed to the cap on the executed sentence because Ms. Newland has no prior record, but we think in light of the 2 deaths that there has to be some jail time for Ms. Newland to think about this. She has her plans for college, but those 2 boys have lost irrevocably their chance to go to college and to grow up and to be contributing members to our society. So that's the wish that the state size, Ms. Newland, is going to have to defer.
Judge Lacey Newland sits before you as a young girl who's made a tragic and horrible mistake. She had no prior criminal history to that. She's evidently been a wonderful daughter to her mother. She's evidently been a good student and plans to go to college. And through one big mistake in her life, she has cost the life of 2 other people, one of whom was evidently a friend because he was in the car with her, and another schoolmate. There's nothing that this court could do today that's going to punish her, like getting up every day of her life from here on out and thinking that's one day that Mr. Cervantes and Mr. Woolwine are not going to get up. Everything that happens in her life in the normal course of her life, having children, getting married, all of those things are going to always be tainted with the thought that some of her friends and her classmates didn't get to experience that. So everything's always going to sort of have a cloud on it, and there's never going to be a day of any pure joy that she can put behind her, the fact that 2 of her classmates lost their lives because of a terrible mistake she made. I would ask the court to consider that because she has no criminal history, because she did not have an alcohol problem before this serious mistake that she made, that she be given a sentence of 4 years to run concurrent on each count, that it all be suspended, that she be given probation and certain terms of probation such as community corrections and house arrest. As Jason's grandmother testified, I think it would be very important for her to go around to schools during prom time and talk to them about this and the effect it's had on her and the effect that it's had on the families of Mr. Cervantes and Mr. Woolwine. It's awful to think that in a blink of an eye you can make such a mistake that it costs somebody else their life. But that's what has happened to this little girl. And because of that, we would ask that you be lenient. Because of her youth, because of her experience and her knowledge about drinking and how even at the point that you think you're still in control of yourself, you're not, that you could make such an error in judgment in your driving that you could actually cause somebody their life. Because of those things, we would ask that you be lenient.
All right, Ms. Newland, the court, having heard the evidence and being advised, will accept your pleas of guilty to count 1, causing death while operating a vehicle while intoxicated as a Class C felony and enter judgment of conviction on the same. And in count 2, causing death when operating a vehicle while intoxicated as a Class C felony, enter judgment of conviction on the same. The court takes into consideration your lack of any kind of criminal record, takes into consideration the sincerity of the remorsefulness that you displayed, but not to take into consideration the loss of life as a result of this tragedy would depreciate the seriousness of the offense here. And the court is going to impose an executed sentence on count 1. The court will impose a sentence of 4 years, the presumptive sentence, to be served at the Indiana Department of Corrections. On count 2, the court would impose a 4-year sentence to the Indiana Department of Corrections. Those sentences are to run consecutive to one another for a total sentence of 8 years. The first 6 years will be served as a executed sentence to the Department of Corrections. The balance of your sentence will be suspended, and and you'll be under the supervision of the Community Corrections Department for the last 2 years. Your driving privileges will be suspended for 5 years on count 1, for 5 years on count 2. That's the maximum suspension that I can give you under the law. Those sentences will run consecutive for a total sentence of life loss of driving privileges for 10 years. During the course of your incarceration, you're to seek out rehabilitation and treatment for any alcohol or drug addiction that you may have. You are to, upon release, report to the court for the terms and conditions of your probation to be set, but you can be assured one of the terms and conditions of your probation will be that you will participate in community meetings wherein you will discuss with young people, whether it's at the school, in a church situation, at a social gathering, wherever you are, you will be required to discuss with the people there the incidents that brought you to April the 24th of 2001, the impact that has had on your life and your future, the impact that has had on your family's life and its future, and the balance and the terms and conditions of probation will be set at that time. If you have any questions about any of this, Ms. Miller, good luck.
When it all started, I thought I was going to have a hard time crying. I always cry. But, when I first realized, I actually felt like I committed the crime. And I took 2 people's lives. And it looked on their faces, and the look on their parents' faces when they identified the body, I thought I was dead too, because it was the most awful experience of my life. I would never wish that on anybody. And I hope that that never happens to any of you because it was terrible. And when I went to trial, they sentenced me like I was really, I kept thinking in my head, I said, no, you didn't do this. But I felt like I did because they just, it's so hard to describe. It was unbelievable. I was in jail for 25 minutes. And they sentenced me to 6 years. I can't imagine. But, and the look on my mom's face and the disappointment, and I felt so ashamed of myself. And I just hope that none of you do that because it's not worth it. No matter, there's always someone that will never pick you up. There's always someone that will be there for you, and I hope that you know that and realize that and that you're possible.
The car crash is real. He's dead right now. It's one of the places he's dead. When you go out, you like drinking Coastal Lane. We've got the where look at for the rest of your life.
Well, like we said, they transported me to the hospital. And when I got to the hospital, the doctors, they worked on me for a few minutes. Tried CPR. They simulated, put chest needles in me, tried to the chest pressure because they didn't have control of this. And then they pronounced me dead at 13:25. And everybody left. And they put a white sheet over me. And I was laying there. And I got to thinking, just a piece of meat over here on this table. A whole sack of potatoes. For a minute there was life in me. There was life in me. They were working on me as a person. They were talking about me. This 18-year-old kid, he's in this accident, going on and on. And all of a sudden, 13:25, he's dead. Everybody leaves. That's it, folks. I I was done. I was dead. No ambition, no nothing. Purdue, out of the picture. We talked some about respect last night. Respect for human life and respect for others. If this was the true case, Lacey Newland had no respect for the people that were with her. She killed us. Dead. Gone. And that's just something I'd like to say this morning, midday, whatever happens to be. There's just respect for human life. Respect for the individuals around you you're going to affect. Think about your decisions. Think about what it's going to do to people around you. Don't turn somebody into a piece of meat on the table, and a little sack of potatoes that somebody threw in the fridge to get rid of it later on. It once was a good life. So just think about that. Just have respect for people around you.
About 2 years ago, I had one of the greatest experiences of my life. When I was at Purdue, we won the national championship, something we worked so hard for. I felt like I was on top of the world. Our team felt like we were on top of the world. It was the highest of all highs. And then 4 months later, I had the worst experience of my life. I had gotten home, I was in a road trip in Minnesota. I came home on August 1st. I had 2 messages on my machine. One was from my dad, and one was from one of our assistant coaches. I could tell by the tone in their voices that something was wrong, something wasn't right, so I called my dad, and he told me that the tip was killed in a car accident. And of course it hit me, and then I asked him how it happened. He said she was hit by a road driver. I didn't have to say anymore because I was so angry that one person's irresponsibility, one person's choice could take away the life of one of my best friends and one of my teammates. Each one of you makes a choice every day. We've been talking about choices. Choose what you want to wear to school. Choose how you want to treat people. How you want to treat your teachers, your parents, your peers. And you can make choices that can result in life and death. And I want to challenge each one of you to make the right decisions. To make the right decisions for yourself because it affects your mind and your body. To make the right decisions for your family because your decisions every day reflect and affect your family. Because they're the ones that care about you. And you could possibly affect people that you don't even know. So take responsibility for your actions. Make the right choices. Think about things before you do them. Talk to people, talk to your parents, talk to your teachers, talk to counselors, talk to your peers, because those people care about you. And just think before you act. Think, every choice that you make, every time that you are trying to decide if you want to take a drink or not, every time that you try to decide if you want to get behind the wheel or not, think about the choices and make the right choices, because it's not only you that affect you, hundreds and hundreds of other people. Thank you.
When he left the house that morning to take my son to work, I just knew he'd be home. And of course, I didn't even tell him goodbye. I didn't tell him I loved him. And when I heard an hour later that he was gone, I couldn't believe it. I've never felt such horrible emptiness in my life. You have to be accountable for your own actions. You cannot get in a car and think you King Kong after a couple of drinks and decide that you can drive. There's always somebody to call. Our life has been awful. I come home and there's nobody to share my day with. There's nobody to help me raise my grandkids. If it weren't for my family, I'm not sure if I'd even be standing here now. My husband and I were together for 27 years and I wasn't ready to let him go. And because of the actions of somebody that decided to party a little bit and drive themselves, I don't have a husband now. All I've got are memories. Half of me is buried in Riverside Cemetery now under a tombstone that reads Francis call us.
A couple times I've heard people say today that people die after murder, this is some kind of joke. I'd like you to think about the situation I'm in and think of how funny that is. Is this funny to anybody drinking and driving? The next time you drink and drive, think about what's happening when you're outside. You're having to live with knowing that one senseless act is not worse than the rest of your life. You know, it starts today. It's the choices you make today. For 1 second, split second, out of control, something like this happens. It's very devastating. You're not under the feeling, but the person who caused this